Here I am sitting in the luxurious bar of the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, staring into my drink. Sitting next to me is Rhonda McKinnon, my neighbor and running partner. Why am I here? Good question. And in order not to tell the whole long story, I'll say it briefly, my soon-to-be ex-wife. Yes, my wife of the last 5 years, Sandra, left me for another man, a university professor named Simon Tangibar. He's about 50, he's a handsome, fair-haired man, but I don't know much about men, so I could be wrong. Sandra is 27, cute as a button, slim, and has long, dark red hair. Perhaps this should have been a red flag when I first met her, but she was lovely and attentive until that fateful day. Now, for context, I'm only 28 years old, and you could say I have my whole life ahead of me, but 2 months after Sandra told me, Ronald James Mason, that she was leaving, it still hurts. What makes it worse is that she never told me why, only that this guy's wife died and she fell in love with him. Well, as you might have guessed, that's not entirely true. I don't think I'm an ugly guy, but I know I'm not some Hollywood hottie. Sure, I'm tall, 6'3", pretty toned, and when I say that, I mean I run, but I don't have a six-pack and ripped physique like all those divine men you always hear about. I'm just a regular guy with a well-paying job and a full head of dark brown hair. I've been told I'm cute. Well, Rhonda tells me that, but she's one of my best friends and could tell me anything. So, back to why I'm here. You see, by chance I found out that Simon's wife is alive and well, and at this moment she has just entered the hotel bar. She is quite attractive. She was short, maybe just over 5 feet, with shoulder-length hair, a pixie face, and a body that was well-groomed. The dress she wears highlights her stunning figure and shows off her beautiful legs. Simon would have to be a real jerk to let her go. "Good luck," Rhonda said, standing next to me and kissing me on the cheek. "See you in the morning?" "Yeah, thanks, Ronnie," I said, squeezing her hand and seeing her smile at me before leaving the bar. Simon's wife's awkward smile as she approached was quite charming. The appetizing brunette was surprisingly beautiful up close, and I wondered why Simon felt the need to cheat on her with my wife. Looks like I was about to find out. "Hi," Lucy said in a sweet tone. Immediately, I felt that this woman could break my heart. "Hi, Lucy. Thanks for coming," I said, inviting her to sit at the table I was sitting at. She smiled and sat gracefully as we looked at each other in a quiet corner of the bar. "You're welcome. I thought when you said it was about Simon, I should come," Lucy said, trying to remain stoic even though her face showed struggle. "I'm sorry. I'm confused as to why they lied to me. You see, my wife left for your husband," I said, laying it all out straight. She shuddered slightly, but remained calm. "She just told me that Simon had lost his wife, and she was going to console him. I was surprised when I found out that you were alive and well." It took a few moments before she sighed and spoke. I could see that she was on edge, ready to either cry or flare up in anger. "What a scoundrel, damn it," Lucy said, which surprised me. It sounds stupid, but seeing this petite woman swear was the height of hypocrisy. She looked like she couldn't kill a fly and her whole demeanor was that of a good, sweet girl, but the words were devilish. She took another breath. "I've seen the pictures, and I have to say I'm upset. That's putting it mildly." "Me too, but that's not the reason I called you," I said, now taking a deep breath myself. "I just wanted to try to understand why she did it. Sandra once said that she owed him something or something." The look in her wide eyes stopped me just as I was about to ask something, but she spoke, eyes filled with emotion. "He owns her," Lucy said quietly. When she said these words, they sounded more meaningful. "What?" My surprised look probably shocked her. "My husband likes to play the dominant role in the bedroom. I've only tried it a little with him, you know. It's not really my thing. Of course, there are things that I like, but no, we're equals. Looks like he's found someone." "Then another," answered Lucy, sighing. "Can I ask, has your wife often taken the initiative in bed?" It was a weird question. but I felt it was important to answer if I got more answers. No, usually not, I replied, shrugging. I mean, there were never any complaints from her. Of course, we talked, discussed things, but she always seemed happy in the end. Why? I think your wife is his subordinate. Simon has always dreamed of having a subordinate. Like I said, not me. Not mine. How long has she known him? Sandra and I met while she was still in college. We met at a party I was at. We hit it off, but nothing serious happened until she graduated from college. Then we got married, and here we are. She went to the same college where your husband works. She studied business administration, I said, which made Lucy close her eyes for a moment and shake her head. At that moment, I understood. She was as quiet as a mouse at that moment. Now it makes sense why she didn't want a serious relationship until after college, I said, feeling anger boiling inside me. It got better and better. The strange thing is, half of my revenge plan just vanished. This has gone on for too long, and now no matter what I do, it won't work. So, what do you want to do? Lucy asked, looking into my eyes. There was something there that I couldn't figure out yet. Oh, we've chosen the divorce route. We'll have to wait a few days before we can start that. You know, legal separation first and all that, I replied, sipping my drink. And you? Do you want to rent a room? Lucy asked firmly. Her gaze never left mine. I didn't expect this. Is it true? I'm 38 years old. I've been replaced by a young slut. What do you think? Lucy asked firmly. She never raised her voice, but spoke as if in a normal conversation. We looked at each other for a long time, and I finally broke the silence. I can't say why, but it was neither awkward nor alarming. It was just calm and pleasant, which was strange considering how I was feeling earlier. I definitely didn't expect this. Do you want tender love or just sex? I answered, seeing the corners of her lips turn up. Yes. We continued to look at each other. I stood up. She stood up, and I followed her from the bar to the hotel reception. We booked a room and headed upstairs. Lucy was a great lover, and she complimented me on my skills throughout. We finally fell asleep at 3 in the morning after a lot of talking between sessions, and we parted on good terms the next morning. Did I get all the answers I was looking for? No. Did we stay in touch after that? Only a few weeks, and then Lucy disappeared. She said she needed time to sort out her life. It suited me because I needed time too. But all the turmoil in the couple of months after Sandra left me feeling empty. And with that, I set out to find answers. 3 years. Yes, it's been so long since I saw Lucy. My divorce went through. I kept the house and paid my ex-wife some money considering we were married for a relatively short time. I still run with Rhonda because she lives near me, and we go out for a run almost every morning. I used to spend time with my other best friend, Eamon Sullivan, but now he's engaged to a wonderful lady, so his time is valuable. I have a feeling that she doesn't really like me, but they never talked about it. Maybe that's why I haven't seen them too much lately. Now I must be clear. I'm not some kind of hero, and in fact, I'm not a hero at all, considering I went through a pretty self-destructive period, about a year after Lucy. I ended up on a few singles websites, got a few dates, and then got involved in some things I'd rather forget about. I met a wonderful woman named Gabriela Torres, who was the personal assistant to some big shot. This lasted a couple of months. She was beautiful and had a very open mind and free spirit when it came to relationships. She ended up admitting that she's in love with her boss, Mark Jacobs, and since then I heard she's pregnant with his child. This was normal. I myself was not looking for anything serious, but nevertheless, I was still left alone. Rhonda encouraged me to make friends with benefits and introduced me to a wonderful lady, Harriet, who was a lawyer. I should mention that Rhonda told me that she had 3 boyfriends at the time, so I thought why not and gave it a try. Harriet and I only met twice before she said I was too young for her. I'm really beautiful, and she was beautiful, and she made me feel confident. So I went online again, signed up for dating sites that specialize in this, and eventually, after a few tries, I found a lovely woman about my age named Angela Peterson. She was a lawyer and worked in the same firm as Harriet. I also learned that Harriet had said good things about me. Angela immediately said that she was not good at relationships, considering that she had been divorced 3 times and was only 31. She said that she likes me and that she has a handsome man who knows how to keep secrets. This is exactly what she needs and wants. She also agreed for me to date other people, and I had the same opinion about her. But she said that it was not necessary since she had already experimented a lot. As long as she can have sex 3 times a week, that's enough for her. While this wasn't a strict rule when we first started dating, it evolved into this as we got to know each other better. Our relationship started almost 2 years ago, and during that time I had a few other special friends, but none of them stayed long, mainly because they then found their knights in shining armor and left. See the pattern here. Somewhere along the way I became a short-term option, unless you count Angela, of course, or Rhonda if you consider a non-sexual relationship with a woman in the same vein. Damn, what has my life become? The most meaningful relationship I had was with Rhonda, who I was going to go running with in half an hour, and Eamon was still my best friend, but I saw him once a month if I was lucky. Angela was wonderful, and in all the times we slept together, she only stayed over twice. I showered and changed into my workout clothes, ready to go, when Rhonda walked in through the front door. Yes, I gave her a key, and she gave me a key to her house, just in case. Ready to go? Rhonda asked as sweetly as always. I have to say, Rhonda is my age and is a PE teacher at a private school nearby. She's almost 6 feet tall, slender with large breasts that she always keeps in check with those inventive sports bras, has nice long legs that lead to a perfect ass, and long blonde hair that she always wears in a ponytail. Again, most people think she's a goddess based on my description. But no, she's just regular Rhonda. I don't want to sound harsh, but it's hard to accurately describe the person you care about and give a complete picture. We get along well, I think she's great, but she's always told me that nothing will happen between us and that she's happy with her existing friends with benefits. Plus, Rhonda went through a bad breakup a few years ago and got a lot of ugly nicknames. Her confidence suffered, especially when other men didn't want to date her, except for one-night stands. She's better than this, and I hope she knows it. So good? Rhonda asked as we left my house and began our daily run. We had 2 different routes that were either short or long. One took us half an hour, and the other a little over an hour. I can't tell you the distance, just know that it was a long time. I just shook my head and shrugged before answering. I don't know. I mean, what am I doing? I'm 31 years old. I'm single. I have nothing to be proud of. I'm not super happy and I'm not super sad, but I feel like I have something. That's not enough. Do you understand? I replied, looking at her as she nodded. I have to say, sometimes when you're running it's hard to talk and breathe at the same time, but luckily she slowed down to a walk to make it easier for us to communicate. It sounds like you're going through a breakup with your ex. Maybe it's time to start dating again. For real, find someone to share your life with, Rhonda said, looking at me with her blue eyes. I don't know why, but hearing her say that I was going through a breakup, something inside me shifted. I don't know, maybe. It's a shame you're not available, I said with a chuckle, which made her shake her head. Oh, you said, I replied, making us both laugh. You don't want me. Trust me, I'm no good. No, I think you want someone else, Rhonda said with a smile. The last time she smiled like that, I was immersed in the world of friends with benefits. She straightened me out then, perhaps it will be the same this time. Oh, that's bad. I always thought you had a nice butt, I said, which made her push me off the track. I looked back at her and saw that she was trying to cheer me up. She was always good at it, and I'd like to think I did the same for her. Hell, we've spent enough time together to know we get along well. I turned back to her and shook my head. Hey, my eyes are there, buddy, Rhonda said, making me look down at her chest and then up at her smiling face. Damn, gotcha. I know. So what? I said with a laugh. Would you turn your back on the eighth wonder of the world? She was about to say something but stopped when she couldn't find the words. Yes, I caught her. Stop it, Rhonda said in that tone. You know that tone, playful but serious. So, think about it. I'm sure it's time. And that's what I did, 2 days in a row. Angela and I usually had a standard procedure for meetings, but this could change depending on work or desire. That's probably why Angela texted me on Monday night. She usually came from Tuesday onwards as the tension grew as the week progressed. She must have had a hard day and needed to relax. Regardless, I wasn't going to complain. Rhonda and I had just finished dinner, as was usual for us several times a week. Remember how I said we get along well? This included going to each other's houses for dinner several times a week so that neither of us was alone, and probably so we didn't have to cook every night. To be clear, this started a couple of years ago. This didn't happen as often when I was married or during the year after my divorce. That was delicious, I said, putting the last plate in the dishwasher while Rhonda wiped the table. Yes, indeed. You're going to make some woman very happy one day, Rhonda said in what I knew was playful teasing. Yeah, and if I could teach you to leave the toilet seat up, you'd make some guy very happy too, I replied, causing her to stick her tongue out at me before we laughed. Rhonda walked over to the kitchen and placed a rag in the sink for me to rinse. Thanks for dinner. I better go. Tony will be here soon, Rhonda said, kissing me on the lips, as we always did now when we said goodbye. Have fun, I said with a nod and a smile as she turned and smiled back at me. Oh yes, she was definitely going to have fun. Tony was a good guy who found himself in the same situation as us. He had 2 failed marriages, was over 50, and had no plans to marry again. It's a shame. He was a nice guy, and I think he could have made someone very happy. I followed Rhonda to the front door, and when she opened it, Angela was almost at the door with a folder in her hands and a bag slung over her shoulder. Hi, Angie, Rhonda said, hugging and kissing the beautiful blonde. Hi, Ronnie, Angela replied happily. I was grateful that the 2 women got along so well. Not that it mattered in the grand scheme of things, but for some twisted reason, it was nice that they were friendly to each other. There didn't seem to be any rivalry between them. We didn't do much running today, so he should be well rested, Rhonda said with a laugh, making Angela laugh too. I just shook my head as Rhonda waved and disappeared. I held the door while Angela came in and set her bag down. As usual, she kissed me and walked into the house, heading towards the open kitchen, dining room, and living room. I closed the door and followed her, watching her hips sway with every step. Angela was tall, reaching to my shoulders, with short light brown hair that went well with her sharp features, and a figure that, well, she hid well under her clothes. If you've ever experienced a moment where it turns out there's more to it than you thought, it's Angela. Her breasts were much bigger when she exposed them, which amazed me every time. I was starting to like her little smile every time I looked at her naked body, the way her eyes sparkled every time, and I couldn't help myself. I mean, this woman was more my style, kept in shape, but wasn't some supermodel, incredibly thin or cartoonishly curvy, and that suited me. She placed the folder on the table and immediately began to unbutton her blouse. Did you just come from work? I asked, looking from the folder to her. She thought for a moment before smiling and pulling her blouse out of her skirt. No, it's just something we need to talk about, Angela replied warmly. In the morning. It was unexpected. She was going to stay the night. Staying the night, huh? I asked, moving closer to her and helping her take off her blouse. Letting her blouse fall to the floor, she turned around and unzipped her skirt, letting it fall as well. Yes, it is normal, Angela asked. More than okay, I said. She never hesitated. You know I like having breakfast with you. Angela came over and kissed me, working with my belt and then undoing my pants. This was our usual dance once we were established as friends with benefits. Angela would come, undress without a care in the world, and then help me undress. Great, Angela said, helping me take off my shirt and then tossing it aside. And me too. It felt good to wake up next to someone again, even if Angela was already running her hands over my body in anticipation of what would happen next. We stood up calmly, threw on our clothes, me in shorts and a shirt, and she in one of my business shirts. We were making breakfast together, chatting about all sorts of things, but I could see the folder from last night out of the corner of my eye. Angela seemed to ignore her, and then we cleaned up and hugged one more time before I sat down, ready to relax with her. For a moment, I forgot about the folder. I looked at the beautiful woman walking around in a half-unbuttoned business shirt and saw her face change slightly. She took the folder and came over to me, sat down next to me with the folder in her hands. Ah, folder, I said, looking at her and noticing a slight doubt. I've known Angela for a long time, and she's always been very confident, so this was new. Yes, Dad, Angela said with an awkward smile as she opened it. There were some documents inside that looked like a contract, judging by a quick glance. How long have we known each other? About 2 years, I answered. More or less. And during this time, did I ever ask you for anything? Angela asked politely, but I could tell she sounded professional. Besides sex. I mean, actually, no. I think I went to a few business events with you. Why? Is everything okay? I replied, seeing that moment of doubt again. Yeah, but you know my story. You know why we get along so well, Angela said, sighing. I could tell that for the first time she was struggling to find the right words. I have a problem. Well, a question. Look, I'm not getting any younger, and I was wondering if I could ask you for a favor. Of course. We've always been honest with each other. You know we can talk about anything, I said, looking at her. There was definitely something in her eyes, and I was interested to know what it was. Angela took a deep breath and turned the folder to show me the documents. You are a wonderful guy, smart, healthy, and with good traits and qualities. We talked about all of this before. So, with that in mind, could you be the father of my child? Angela asked, and for a moment after she said those words, I could see a flicker of fear in her eyes before she calmed down again. Of course, this was an innovation. I have to admit that the words made me pause for a moment. I was about to respond elegantly when I blurted out instead. What? I don't want a relationship. Neither of us do. I was just hoping. I had everything laid out in this contract to protect both of us and avoid consequences for you, Angela explained, as if she was reciting legal jargon to the client. I just looked at her before I put my hand on hers. This stopped her for a moment. Do you want to have a baby? I asked, looking at her. The fear returned to her eyes. With me? Yes, it is normal, Angela replied in a hesitant voice. I'll do all the parenting and everything. What if I want to participate in the child's life? I asked, which looked like I'd punched her in the face, judging by the way she flinched away. It took her a few moments to answer. I never thought about it. I mean, I didn't think you'd want it, and I was only thinking about myself. Oh, do you want it? Angela answered politely. It was obvious that this was unfamiliar territory. I honestly wasn't sure, but as always, I needed to be clear and frank. I'm not sure. I mean, should I? Can I think a little about this request? It's a lot for me, I asked. It was obvious from the contract that Angela had already done a lot of work. Of course, I wouldn't have it any other way. Please take as much time as you need, Angela said in a tone that I knew was not her usual confident voice. I took her hand in mine and pulled her towards my knee. Angie, I just want to think this through. I'm flattered that you would think of me that way. I just want a little time to be sure. Is this okay? I asked, looking into her eyes. After a moment, she smiled at me and her confidence returned. If we do this, we'll need to discuss how this will affect our relationship. You know, all of that too. It won't affect it. It's just a little bump in the road, that's all, Angela said with a small smile. I ran my hand down her leg and found her stomach. She tensed a little before spreading her legs wider and turning towards me. Okay, let me think about it for a couple of days. In the meantime, do you still want to date as usual? I asked, not sure if she wanted this. Of course, we still have needs, Angela replied before kissing me passionately. Looks like we're both going to be late for work, I said as Angela let her shirt slide off her shoulders and then leaned over the back of the couch. I hope so, Angela replied before I approached her. The look in her eyes told me we might not make it there before lunch. We'll probably find out soon. Okay, yes, I was late for work this morning. Luckily, I wasn't late for work for the next couple of days. But do you know what happened? Because I was late that day, I missed a marketing meeting for one of our products, which meant one of the marketing managers, Jennifer Lee, had to come and tell me everything. No, not that way. We had to go back and forth about it, and I thought we had everything covered. But she showed up at my office door one afternoon. Now I should mention that Jennifer and I know each other quite well. She knew about my divorce, but we always interacted politely with each other in the office, as in any work relationship, I guess. Hi, Jen, I said as she walked into my office. Hey, Ronnie, do you have a minute? Jennifer asked politely. For you, of course. Take a seat, I replied, pointing to the empty chairs on the other side of my table. But instead, she closed the door and stood at my desk. Everything is fine. Now she seemed a little nervous. This made me nervous considering this woman could stand in front of a crowd and give a speech like it was second nature to her. For the record, public speaking is not my thing. Yes, I wanted to ask. Jennifer slowed down, trying to calm down. I just watched and waited. Would you like to go to dinner with me sometime? I think my surprised look made her laugh. She covered her mouth with her hand and waited for me to come to my senses. I immediately remembered the conversation with Rhonda where she said that maybe it was time, and how something inside me changed. Maybe the time really had come, and I was not going to reject such a gift of fate. I had no idea where this would lead. It was just dinner. Yeah, I'd like that, I said, which made her relax and smile wider. Friday or Saturday? On Saturday? Jennifer asked, swaying slightly from side to side with playfulness. Great. 6 o'clock, I asked, wondering what time to pick her up. Shall I pick you up or meet you there? 6 will come and you can pick me up. I'll text you the address, Jennifer said happily as she walked towards the door. In a tailcoat or in shorts and a t-shirt? I joked before she laughed. Casual is fine, Jennifer replied as she opened my office door. Thanks, Ronnie. You're welcome, I said before she looked at me one last time and walked away. I don't know what happened, but maybe my life started to take a turn for the better. I was under no illusions, but was intrigued to see where it would lead. Without a doubt, Jennifer emailed me her details, and I was over the moon when I left the office that evening. I had to go grocery shopping and then meet Angela again. Well, she requested a sexual encounter. Everyone needs to eat, and although I'm not a Michelin star chef, I can cook and prefer not to eat frozen meals. I was quickly shopping at the local supermarket, which was located in part of a huge shopping center, when I saw someone I hadn't seen for a long time. Our eyes met, and with a sweet smile, we approached each other. Hi, I said, noticing Lucy with the stroller in front of me. I looked at the little boy. Hello. Hi, Ron, Lucy said sweetly. Just seeing her reminded me of that incredible night. It was great that we parted on good terms. Good to see you. Me too. How are you? I asked. She seemed radiant and so happy. Great. Just great. My life has only gotten better since I last saw you, Lucy replied, looking at her son. Who is this? I asked, looking at the tired little boy in the stroller. She smiled and avoided my gaze. It's little William, answered Lucy proudly. She still avoided my gaze. Wow, he's cute, Looks like his dad, I guess, I said as she gave me a look that somehow made me feel out of place. Sorry, how's Simon? What? Lucy tried to recover. Then I think she understood what I meant. We divorced. This is good, I asked, making sure that this was indeed the case, because inside I was delighted. Yes, Lucy replied with a laugh. I breathed a sigh of relief, glad that she was happy to be rid of this scoundrel. Thank God, I said, laughing too. She kept looking at me, and I knew something was wrong. What? He's yours, Lucy said with an almost emotionless face as she gauged my reaction. I saw fear, and believe me, I could have been knocked off my feet when she said that. Mine? I asked, finally recovered enough to speak. That night, well, I wanted to get back at Simon. I've never been on birth control, and I never really thought. Well, it was a calculated risk, but it was worth it, Lucy replied happily. Wow, okay. I started to get a little worried. What did it all mean? I never had a chance to thank you, Lucy continued happily. He is my world. He means everything to me, and it's all thanks to you. I said, shocked by her confession and how genuinely happy she seemed. That's great. You're welcome. Glad that smog helps, perhaps. Ronnie, it's okay. I don't want anything. I made Simon pay alimony in the divorce, Lucy said with a devious smile. He doesn't even suspect. Seriously? I asked, feeling a part of me happy that her asshole ex was getting what he deserved. Yes, I ruined it, and it's all thanks to you, Lucy continued happily. He's definitely not the man I married. I didn't even think about it. Then it dawned on me, and I couldn't be happier, but I wasn't sure how she would feel. Lucy, can I come over sometimes? I mean, I know I'm not around, but I'd like to see him. Play with him. For birthdays. Do you mind? I asked, which made her cry. Damn, this woman is full of surprises. Sorry, I didn't mean to upset you. Just forget I said anything. Lucy shook her head and grabbed my forearm. No, that's not the point. I just didn't expect it. Trust me when I say I don't need anything. But if you want to be a part of his life, Lucy said, wiping her tears and smiling, I'd really like that. Okay, that would be great. Thanks, I said, smiling. It was as if a piece of the puzzle fell into place at that moment. Lucy and I exchanged contact details and agreed to discuss this further outside the store and in private. When we parted, I started thinking about Angela's request. I sent her a message and asked her to meet tomorrow evening at my place. I knew what I needed to do. I let Rhonda choose where we would go in the morning, and it seemed like she had something she needed to allow. I slowed us down a bit to let her know who I met with last night. You'll never guess what happened last night, I said as we turned the corner. Alien abduction, Rhonda responded jokingly. This was our standard answer when we didn't know the answer to a question like this. Almost, I answered with a laugh. I met Lucy at the grocery store. Wow, really? Rhonda looked at me sideways. Wow, what, 3 years? Yes, 3 years, I confirmed, nodding. She was with a little boy. Wow, she's moving fast, Rhonda said, but stopped when she saw me looking at her. Is there something wrong? He's mine, I said, which made her freeze for a moment and then laugh. Sorry, I thought you said the little boy was yours, Rhonda said, smiling before her smile faded. He is mine. We stopped, and she looked at me briefly until it dawned on her. Damn it, Rhonda said softly as her face changed. I could see something was going on as her entire demonstration changed in that moment before she put everything together. Well, Rhonda said, returning the forced smile. Well done. Ronnie, I said, taking her hand. It's okay, really, Rhonda said, swallowing. Let's continue. She left before I could say anything, and it took me a while to catch up with her again. But we let the silence hang for a while before I said anything again. I'm only telling you because I don't know what else to do. I asked Lucy if I could visit him sometimes, but I don't know. I was just hoping for a little wisdom from you, I said as we turned another corner onto our route. Should I be in my child's life, or should I leave him alone? You need to do what feels right, Rhonda replied politely. Yeah, but then Angela comes to me and asks me to be the father of her baby. I mean, my life is changing rapidly, I said with a sigh. She asked for what? Rhonda looked at me in surprise. Damn, wow. Thank you, I replied with a grin. Big help. I mean, do you think this is a good idea? She said she'd do all the parenting and I wouldn't be responsible or anything. And, damn, this doesn't lead anywhere. Rhonda was always more thoughtful when we talked, but this was different. It seemed like she was on another planet at the moment. I just had to openly ask her to focus. Do you think I should have a baby with Angela? I asked. It took a few moments before she seemed to shake off the cobwebs and return to Rhonda, with whom I was accustomed to interacting. I can't make that decision for you, but it sounds pretty cool. No hassle, kids. I'd probably do it if I could, Rhonda said with a laugh. Every man's dream, right? I stopped at that moment. Rhonda noticed and stopped before turning back to me. That's the thing. There's more to it than just that. I mean, damn, I'm not some fancy guy. But damn, I don't know. What if I want to be in a kid's life? What if the baby will be born with birth defects or something? I said, suddenly feeling nauseous. Crap. I never thought about it that way. What happened next surprised me. Rhonda hugged me and held me before kissing me on the cheek and stepping back, holding my shoulders. That's why you're the right person for this. Angela isn't stupid. She did her homework. Why do you think she chose you? Because you have all the qualities she wants in a man, even if you're not with her in a relationship. She knows you'll be there for her, Rhonda said, which made sense. But part of me was terrified. What if I need someone? I asked, looking at Rhonda. Her eyes became blurry for a moment, and I could see that the question caught her off guard. She struggled with it before answering. It's not like you'll need me, but I'm always here for you, Rhonda said, touching my face comfortingly. This was the first time she showed such concern for me, if that's even the right word. What she said carried weight and had an impact. Always. Me too, I said, hugging her. She hugged me a little tighter then, which made me wonder if something was going on with her. Not that she would tell me. She pulled away and looked to the side, signaling that it was time to move on. What do you say? Let's get back to running. Good idea, Rhonda said, jumping up and down as if getting ready to start. We continued our run and acted like it was just another morning run in Shitsville. This is the city where we lived. Just kidding, the city was normal. We spent the morning as usual and didn't talk about it anymore. Not that morning. Distressing on a Friday night with Angela was always a good way to end the week. As usual, she came in and undressed, but there seemed to be more energy in her steps. That or I was looking for something that wasn't there. We ate naked, which was something new. We ended up in my bedroom, having used most of the furniture in the living room beforehand. I carried her there in my arms, carefully laid her on the bed as we came to our senses and slowly warmed each other up again. I had the feeling that there was more energy between us this time, and we ended up with a passionate outburst. After this round of passionate sex, I looked at Angela lying on my bed, her eyes glued to me as I placed my hand on her stomach. I think you'll look great with a baby bump, I said, which immediately made Angela cover her mouth and cry. I picked her up when she was crying and hugged her. Her arms wrapped around me as she cried through her emotions. I've never seen her do this, always so confident and determined. It was a new side that was great to see. Finally, she pulled away and looked at me. Really? Are you sure? Angela asked, her eyes pleading with me. Of course, I will be happy to become the father of your child, I said with a smile. She beamed and hugged me tighter, fresh, happy tears rolling down my shoulder. I was sure I would never become a mother, Angela said, finally calming down and leaning back. You'll make a wonderful mother, I said, stroking her cheek. You think so? Angela asked, her eyes sparkling. Yes, I guess. Look how well you take care of me, I replied with a naughty smile. This made her laugh and fall onto the bed, her arms folded over her chest as she laughed. Her breasts were pressed against her, and she looked so beautiful at that moment. She calmed down, but was still smiling and looked at me. Come here, Angela said, extending her arms towards me. I'll take very good care of you now. Yes, I asked, moving towards her and laying halfway on top of her, my elbows still supporting my bulk as I looked down at her. She looked more beautiful now than ever with that glow around her. This is a promise. Absolutely, Angela replied, pulling me in for a big kiss. You're staying tonight, right? I asked, looking into her dreamy eyes. I didn't plan to. I don't have any other clothes, Angela replied, her smile fading slightly. So why do you need it? I said, which brought her smile back to full strength. She kissed me again, and I felt like she was going to say something that we both said we wouldn't say. I know I do too. It was easier this way, and she knew it. Thank you, Angela said, pulling me towards her. It was a different kind of sex that felt more personal, if that makes sense at all. She stayed the night, and we took full advantage of our time together. We could discuss the details later. I think Angela left on a cloud after another energetic morning session. I wasn't really nervous. I was more curious as to why Jennifer wanted to meet me. The thought of a beautiful woman like her wanting to date a guy like me is once in a lifetime, right? I barely knocked on the door before she opened it, and oh my God, even in her casual clothes, she looked incredible. I got the impression that she was waiting for me to show up because it was too frisky to be a coincidence. Hello, I said kindly. Hi, Jennifer replied with a sweet smile. As she turned to pick up her purse, I took a quick look at her. She looked stunning in skinny jeans and a white t-shirt. Ready to go. My eyes returned to her face as she turned and asked that question. Of course. Did you take everything? I acted like a concierge, pointing to my car, which was outside her apartment. She smiled and walked next to me as we headed outside. We had a casual conversation in the car on the way to the restaurant and became more comfortable with each other. You know, the usual conversations about the weather, whether it was difficult to find her place, and when I mentioned the choice of restaurant, she was pleased. We sat down, ordered, and then the conversation became more intense. When our dishes arrived, it seemed quite casual. Do you like your job? I asked as we moved into the usual stages of getting to know each other before moving on to more personal topics. I love her. I'm hoping for a promotion, so who knows? Jennifer replied with a smile as we ate. What about you? Do you like your job? Not bad. Sometimes good, but hey, it's work. I get to meet interesting people like you, I said, which made her blush and smile. Thank you. You're interesting too, Jennifer answered happily. We finished our food and continued talking over drinks. I felt like she wanted to get more personal with me, but I wasn't sure how to go about it. Then I had an idea. I'm surprised you invited me to dinner. May I ask why? I asked, looking at her. Her dark eyes were beautiful, and when she smiled, like now, they sparkled even more. Of course, Jennifer replied, thinking for a moment. It's because you treat me like a normal person, with respect, and never look at me lustfully. You're funny and sweet, and you know, all the guys just see me as a piece of meat. So, I'm tired of this side of things. I'm just looking for someone real. Does that make sense? Yes, you can't imagine, I said with a laugh. My life is a complete mess. It's no fun, and so far no one has wanted anything more from me than one night. Well, let's not talk about that. It's okay. I think you and I are the same. Please tell me, Jennifer said sweetly. I think you'll run away when I tell you. In fact, I'm sure of it, I said, calling the waiter to pay the bill. The check, please. Oh, I don't know. I'll probably scare you with my stories, Jennifer said with a laugh. She was very good at calming me down. Okay, well, I said when the waiter brought me the bill. I put my card on it and added a tip. How about I tell you while we eat ice cream? Okay, Jennifer said before the waiter returned and we were on our way. I took her to this little ice cream shop and we ordered a few different flavors before heading around town. So my problem, I said, walking next to her. I'm divorced. She left me for the one, and I've been a mess ever since. I can't have a serious relationship with anyone, and I'm currently in a no-strings-attached relationship with one woman who just asked me to be father of her child. Can you top that? Jennifer licked her ice cream without blinking and shrugged slightly. I've had a few failed relationships. I dated a couple for a while as, I don't know who. I was like a trophy. So it didn't end well. I had one guy who turned out to be involved in crime. There were those with whom we did not see eye to eye on matters of sex. The last guy was obsessed with me. It was scary, but I ended it quickly. And I won't even talk about all the guys who regularly tried to seduce me. It's boring, Jennifer said, as if it were just a casual conversation between two old friends. Thinking about it, it was indeed a random conversation. I laughed, and she looked at me. I guess you want someone to take care of you, I said, opening the door for her. Sometimes, Jennifer said with a smirk before sitting down and letting me close the door. I quickly walked to the driver's door and got into the car. Good to know. Then, I said, starting the car and looking at her. Where to now? To my house, Jennifer said sweetly. I can do this, I said as we set off. Soon we were at her house, and I walked her to the front door. So, I was about to say goodbye, thinking this was the end, when she grabbed my hand, glanced at me, and led me inside the building. For a drink, Jennifer asked as she walked up to her door. Yeah, that would be great, I replied as she unlocked it and led us inside. She took out the drinks and drank one herself, keeping her eyes on me the entire time. It was almost like a game of cat and mouse where she would take a sip, I would take a sip, and then she would look at me with her gorgeous eyes. I decided to wait as she invited me inside. It was almost as if she was searching for the right words, opening her mouth to say something several times before deciding not to speak. I set my drink down as she walked closer to me and placed her hand on my chest. Jennifer set her glass down before speaking. You're a decent person, Ron. I've known that for a long time, and helping someone with such a big task as a child takes courage. You're brave and strong, and I really want to make love to you now, Jennifer said firmly, looking into my eyes. I was almost speechless from her gaze. So I didn't scare you away? I asked incredulously. She simply shook her head. I like you even more, Jennifer replied, taking my hand and gently pulling me into her bedroom. Oh, is this a good idea? I mean, first date and everything, I asked, concerned that I was going down the same path as before and knew I didn't want to. This time I want something different. Don't you want to take your time? She looked at me with a smile. Ron, trust me, I don't do this on the first date. But, to be honest, there's something about you, Jennifer said, unbuckling pants. I think it's time to do something different and with another guy that I really like. Please throw caution to the wind with me. It became clear that she was just like me. Wanting to achieve a different outcome for once, she had to change her approach to relationships. Turning quickly, she practically pounced on me, proving that she had no shyness. Jennifer was great. I definitely think this is the start of a beautiful relationship, Jennifer said. You're amazing, Ron. You can talk, I said, running my hands down her sides and making her growl. Was it possible that she was the free spirit I was looking for? Could she be the one? I can't begin to describe what happened in my life last week. Jennifer walked out of the park for how wonderful she was, and we spent each day getting to know each other better. The only thing we both wanted was to be honest with each other, and although it was uncomfortable for me, I appreciated knowing where I stood, and so did Jennifer. The work was especially boring until I felt that inimitable vibrating sound in my pocket. Yes, my phone buzzed with a message, and I quickly pulled it out to see what had been sent. It was Jennifer. "My test results are clear," Jennifer wrote with a kiss emoji. Then it dawned on me that I hadn't told her about my results either. "Mine too. Too bad we have to wait to see each other," I replied to her in a text message. I put the phone down, thinking that we could probably meet tomorrow since I was seeing Angela tonight. Then another message came. "Did you see Angela last night?" Jennifer asked. "Yes," I answered, considering that she knew it too. However, I decided to continue playing. I made a promise to Angela that I would be the father of her child. Now that we had officially agreed to start trying, I wanted to start it off with a little more than just basic sex. That's what I told myself. We were trying to create a life, and there was nothing like a business approach to it. I asked Angela to shower in the master bathroom while I got ready in the master bedroom and bathroom. I put on a nice robe, yes I know, Hugh Hefner style, and left the robe for her in the master bathroom. When she returned, I was waiting for her in the hallway at the door to the master bedroom, and she was smiling happily. There was a bit of nervousness, but she looked beautiful, wearing a robe and nothing else. "Hi," Angela said, walking over and kissing me softly. "I'm so worried." "Don't be nervous," I said, gently massaging her shoulders. She searched my eyes, and I just raised my eyebrows in a flirtatious way, which made her smile. "Now turn towards the bedroom door and close your eyes." "Why?" Angela asked softly before she felt my hands on the back of her hips. I kissed the back of her head and then checked to see if her eyes were closed. When she noticed me, she closed them and grinned. I opened the bedroom door and then slowly took 2 steps forward. "Keep them closed for a minute longer," I said, wrapping my arms around her and untying her robe. I took it off her shoulders and she let it fall to the floor without hesitation. I did the same with my robe and then kissed the nape of her neck before moving lower to her shoulder, making her shiver. "You can open your eyes now." I felt her tremble when she saw the bedroom. I placed a few lit candles around the room and made the bed with silk sheets and large comfy pillows, just in case. She turned to look at me and I saw tears in her beautiful eyes. "Ron." "I know, me too," I said, pulling her towards me and kissing her softly. "I thought we should make this special. After all, we're trying to create life, right?" She looked at me, put her arms around my neck, and nodded through her tears. I could tell she was choking, and I just held her warm body in my arms until she calmed down. I took her hand and nobly led her to the bed, helping her sit in the middle, where she made herself comfortable. "This is so cute," Angela said, spreading her legs and holding out her arms towards me. "Yes, it is," I said, moving towards her and into her arms. She pulled me into a passionate kiss that was unlike anything we had shared before. Finally, she let me go and just looked into my eyes. They sang and danced joyful tunes. "Believe me, you'll be calling in sick tomorrow." "Will?" Angela asked shyly, raising her eyebrows. "Yes, you will. You're mine for today. And tomorrow," I replied with a smile, making her smile, and we kissed again. "Only today and tomorrow," Angela asked shyly. "Perhaps you could present a case tonight to change that." "I could put up a good defense," I replied, making her smile brightly. "Or attack. Whatever works." "Assault, please," Angela said, kissing me. These were the last words between us for a while. I don't know what time it was, probably early compared to many alpha males, but I held her in my arms until we fell asleep. We did it again in the morning to make sure it wasn't some kind of deception from the day before. When Angela found out she was pregnant, she seemed more excited and talked about it. But at the same time, she became more distant. However, a couple of months later, as the pregnancy continued, something changed. I ran with Rhonda again and sought her advice. "I don't know what to do," I asked Angela, but she just shook her head and kissed me, I said, looking at Rhonda. She seems so quiet now. I'm not sure if it's because of the hormones or not. I can talk to her if you want, Rhonda suggested matter-of-factly. Yes, it was my best friend. Nothing was ever too much trouble for her. Oh, I don't know. I mean, damn, what would she say? I don't want to hurt her, I said, but Rhonda just shook her head. You won't hurt me. Let me talk to her. Let's see what I find out, Rhonda said with a smile. Perhaps this was exactly what I needed. Angela meant more to me than I realized when I agreed to this. Damn, is this what they were talking about when they said you were getting feelings? Cold. What more could I say? We continued running, and I knew Rhonda would take it into her own hands. I hoped. I felt like my relationship with Angela was changing, and I wasn't sure what to think about it. Letting Rhonda talk to her didn't change anything yet, but I knew I had to give it time. In some ways, it seemed strange to me that I was also dating Jennifer. But then everything seemed strange lately. Let me explain. Everything was going well with Jennifer. We were having sex and having a great time together. But there was something strange about it all. Something I couldn't put my finger on. This time, when Jennifer looked at me almost sadly before she took off her clothes and attacked me, it was different from the other times with Jennifer, especially since she took the initiative. A quick kiss on the lips, a pale smile from Jennifer, and I rolled to the side, ready to rest, but I knew I was expecting too much. Unusually, Jennifer stood up, grabbed her clothes, and began to get dressed. This was not the usual cozy rest after such an intense workout. I have to go, Jennifer said politely. I have a lot to do. It wrapped everything in a certain finality, as if this was our last time together, and we made an extra effort. The way Jennifer looked lost or wasn't looking at me the same way anymore, I suddenly blurted it out. This has been a long time coming. You're leaving, aren't you? I asked, now that the pieces of the puzzle fell into place. Jennifer turned slowly and nodded. They gave me a promotion, Jennifer replied softly. I will be leading the Southeast Asia marketing team in Japan. Japan? I asked in surprise. Sorry, but this is the promotion I was looking for, Jennifer answered sincerely. I enjoyed every minute of our time together. I just need to do this for a while before settling down. No, I understand. It's okay, I said with a sigh. Now I understand why our last session was so intense. It was goodbye sex. Ron, you don't understand, Jennifer said, taking my hand. I didn't want her to touch me, but it felt good at the same time. You know that I like to take risks. You know that I also like to go with the flow, by feeling. So I told myself that if I get pregnant before the promotion, I will not go. I will stay here and have many children with you. So it was a game, I asked in bewilderment, but she shook her head. No, I knew that if I stayed, I would regret not leaving. I know I hurt you, but I'm sorry, Jennifer answered sadly. This is not how I wanted things to turn out, and I couldn't find the right time to tell you. Just know that I care about you, and I hope we can rekindle our relationship in the future. Jen. Ronald, please. I'm leaving for a while. You're staying with Angela and even Rhonda. I'm leaving alone and will be alone the whole time. I promise you that, Jennifer said, looking at me with hope in her eyes. I can't force you to do this. It's not fair, I said, but she smiled. For me, this is fair. This is my punishment for what I told you, Jennifer said firmly. Please believe me when I say I was hoping to get pregnant with you. But that didn't happen, so I'm going in a different direction. I need this. Tell me, do you understand? In its own strange and surreal way, I understood. But I didn't like it. I understand, I said with a forced smile. I tried to calm her down, but I don't think she believed it. I know you need this. Just remember that I care about you too. Thank you, Jennifer said, kissing me. You're welcome. Thank you for everything. I had a great time, I said as we said goodbye. I won't lie. I was a little torn and knew what people would say. I had another woman I slept with and Jennifer, and I never made promises to each other, so why should I feel this way? Just. I thought after the last couple of months we would take a more serious step rather than break up. My life will probably continue to be like this, isn't it? That was the last time I saw Jennifer for a long time. I told Rhonda what happened. Hell, we tell each other everything, so this wasn't news. I'm not sure if Rhonda was surprised or relieved. She had a strange mixture of emotions on her face after I told her. But as usual, she just gave me a comforting smile. We were getting ready to go for a run, and there she was standing in my kitchen, dressed in her workout clothes, looking amazing as always. "Everything will be okay," Rhonda said calmly. "Yeah, I know, it's just," I started, pausing as I sighed. "Everyone just leaves. I don't know. I thought she was different." "She was, but she doesn't deserve you," Rhonda said, patting my shoulder. Yes, that was a consolation. "I don't know what I deserve," I said, shaking my head. The hug she gave me was unexpected. I have to admit, it felt nice to have someone care about you enough to hold you and comfort you, even if it's just a friend. Damn, Eamon was nowhere to be seen. He seemed to be busy all the time. "Everyone deserves to be happy," Rhonda said, stepping away from me and staying close to me for a moment. "Yes, really," I said, looking at her. Her eyes were kind. "You know, I only have you." She smiled. "Ha, you have Angie too," Rhonda said warmly. "True, but things have changed." "I have, I guess. But look at you. You have 3 guys," I said, trying to change the focus a little and make her feel wanted. But instead, she shook her head. "No, only Tony is left," Rhonda said with a shrug. "I told you that no one wants me. I'm just like you. It scares them." "Cowards," I said, which made her laugh. "Yeah, something like that," Rhonda said, flashing a bright smile. She took my hand and led me to the front door of the house. "How about we go for a run? It might clear our heads." "Good idea," I said. I must admit, it helped. Getting out and moving always helped. I don't know why, but when I run with Rhonda, it always makes my day. It would probably take me a while to get over Jennifer leaving, but I knew I could handle it. Plus, I'm running next to a beautiful lady who looks incredible in black shorts and a tight tank top. What? I'm still a man interested in women. I would like to say that things got better, but this did not happen. Yes, Jennifer left, and I felt left out. I may have been heartbroken, but I'm not sure. I still went to work. Angela's belly grew every day, and I continued to run with Rhonda. That was the only constant, Rhonda and me. I saw Lucy and William about once a week, spending time with my son and watching him grow. I think William took after his mother because he was such a smart and sweet child. Rhonda also enjoyed seeing them and often playing with my son. Angela still came over for sex, but it was down to once or twice a week. And yes, we worked out the logistics as she grew, but I could tell she was more distant now. I mean, she reciprocated when we had sex and seemed passionate as always. But as soon as we finished, she got up and left. I chalked it up to hormones, but Rhonda said it was something else. The girl-to-girl conversation revealed nothing other than giving her time, and that's not my fault. Yes, of course, it was difficult to think otherwise. You don't expect this to happen to you and think it's only in movies or books. But here I am putting groceries in the car when I see it. I was in a large downtown shopping center where their slogan was, "If they don't have it, it's probably not worth buying." I mean, it's a stupid slogan considering the mall had such a wide variety of stores, not just 2 supermarkets. Anyway, I was in the parking lot when I saw Angela holding the hand of some stylish black guy. He was dressed in an expensive suit, gold chains, expensive leather shoes, and his smile sparkled in the sun. Yes, we were underground, but the sun still gave glare from his snow-white teeth. They walked to her car where they stopped, kissed each other, and his hand slid to her ass and squeezed it. I saw her bite her bottom lip while his other hand caressed her stomach. It was my child. I know I shouldn't have reacted that way, but I thought we had a good relationship. She never told me she was seeing anyone else, and now this. I took out my phone and quickly sent her a message and took a photo to make sure I wasn't hallucinating. I mean, she's a lawyer and she could get out of this, so I needed proof. Feeling more and more depressed by the minute, I decided that I needed to go home. I was about to get into the car when our eyes met and I saw her face turn pale. She covered her mouth with her hand, and I saw that she had a phone in her hand. Yes, I asked her if she had a good lover. I just got in the car and drove away. No, I didn't drive away with my wheels squealing, making my car's engine roar like a proud muscle car, or fly away like a bat out of hell to go home. And no, this wasn't some Mustang or Camaro or other muscle car with so many unnecessary parts that you're tired of reading about them. Yes, I was hurt and a little angry, but I probably shouldn't have expected anything different. She ended up admitting that she was terrible at relationships. Why did I think ours would be different? I drove home, unloaded the car, and started putting things away when I heard a knock on the front door. I went and opened it to find Angela running into my arms and hugging me tightly. "Sorry," she said, pressing herself against my chest. I sighed and pulled her away, looking down at her. "We're not married, and I don't care," I said, feeling a pit of anger and resentment opening up inside me. But damn it, I won't let her see it. "It's just one of my work partners," Angela said, but I raised my hand to stop her. "Good for you. You got what you wanted, and I expect you to fulfill the contract," I said sharply, which made her eyes fill with tears. I didn't expect this from the usually stern lawyer. Let's be honest, it was fun while it lasted. But you knew that a long time ago, and I should have listened. It's my fault. "No, Ronnie, please, it's not like that. It's my fault. I just have this habit. When things get too serious, I do this. That's all," Angela almost begged. It took me a few moments to collect my thoughts. I started to get angry, but I wanted her to go away quickly. The only problem was that we were having a baby, and I wanted to be a part of the baby's life. Damn it. Okay? Look, get professional help. Deal with this and find out why before you screw it up with this new guy. Do this for our baby's sake, please, I said, trying to control my anger. I think she saw my defenses starting to crack and backed off a little. "I'm sorry, Ronnie. I really should have told you sooner," Angela said, wiping away her tears. "It's okay. Just leave. If you want me to be in the hospital," I started, but I saw her wince. I understood what this meant. "Okay, just let me know when the baby is born. If this guy wants to be a father, then let me know, okay?" "It's not that bad," Angela said, coming to her senses. "He can't have children, but he wants to be around." "How convenient," I said, shaking my head. "He's also rich, right? Not like me." Now this has really broken the rift. "Okay, that's it. Go away and don't come back." "Ronnie, please," Angela begged. "No, no, just no," I said. "Go away before I say or do something very stupid. I took care of you, and that's how things worked out for me. My life, Ronald James Mason, the instigator of someone else's happy ending. No thank you. Live your best life and leave me alone. I did not expect marriage, but I hoped that we would have our child and you in my life. Not like this, Angela. If you care about me at all, even by one hair, just leave, okay?" I was shaking like a leaf, and she could see the agony written on my face. She looked shocked and sad. With a final nod, she turned and walked away slowly. I didn't mean to, but I slammed the door so hard that even I flinched. I was surprised I didn't break the door. I headed into the living room, found the couch, and collapsed on it, looking out into the backyard of the house. I must have been out of touch with reality because the next thing I know, I have a warm hand on my shoulder, and I see Rhonda looking at me with a sad look. "She told me everything," Rhonda said before kneeling down in front of me and taking my hand. "Are you okay?" I shrugged. What can you say to such a question? "I know I'm not a prize and we weren't married, but it's a little offensive, don't you think?" I asked, bitterness evident in my voice. Yes, she is. She has commitment issues. Angela told me so, Rhonda replied politely and with a hint of anger. I looked at her and could tell she meant it. She is truly an outstanding friend. She's going to get help. Good for her, I said almost sarcastically, as if I cared. I was just hoping. You know, no one stays. I have relationships that seem to go somewhere and then stop, so I thought this one would be different. After all, we've been dating for 4 years now. Apart from my relationship with you, this is the longest relationship I've had with a member of the opposite sex since my ex-wife. I thought we could make it work without the commitment, but we'd have a family. Something. This kind of thing. You're a great guy, Ronnie, Rhonda said, stroking my arm. No, I'm not like that. I'm not a hero, I said, shaking my head and letting out a fake laugh. You are a hero to me, Rhonda said warmly. Do you want me to stay the night? I looked at her and saw something different in her eyes, but I felt hurt and irritated. The last thing I needed was her around. She was too good for me. I needed to push her away. You live next door, seriously. If you do that, I'll drag you into bed and end up hurting you. I don't think that's a good idea, I said, to which she squeezed my hand. Maybe that's what you need to do, get me into bed, Rhonda said, playing my game. She always seemed to be on the same page as me. Damn it, I was going to push her away once and for all. Who needs women, right? But what Rhonda said sparked something inside of me, something I wasn't sure about. I stood up, trying to leave, but she held my hand, getting up from her seat. Come on, Ronald, don't miss this opportunity. What's wrong with you? Are you crazy? I said, shaking my head and finally freeing my hand. I turned to leave, but Rhonda continued to insist. Damn, I was angry. Have you ever thought that maybe I said I wasn't right for you because I didn't think you could handle me? Rhonda asked with a sharp edge in her voice, causing me to turn around and look at her. So do it. Do whatever you want and show me what I missed all these years. You're lying, I said, my shock mixed with anger. I was on the edge. No. Call Tony and ask him, Rhonda said, pulling her phone out of the waistband of her shorts. He can't handle me. You don't want this, I said angrily. Want, Rhonda shouted, throwing her phone on the couch. I moved, which woke her up, and she looked at me. Yes, she was still sleepy, but she smiled and kissed my stomach. Then she slowly rose and lay down next to me, putting her arm and leg on me, her head on my shoulder. Last night was fun, Rhonda said in a sleepy voice. Surprised? Rhonda asked with a satisfied hum. Didn't think we'd do this, right? Honestly, no. After everything we've been through, everything we've ever said, we've said it, I replied, stroking her arm while my hand, which was pinned underneath hers, pressed to her amazing body. Where did this come from? It seems so. Out of character? Rhonda asked, finishing my sentence. Yeah, something like that, I replied before feeling her lift her head to look at me. I'm not always like this, but now you've seen all of me. The real me, Rhonda said, kissing my chin. Do you think you can handle this? What? It wasn't a pity, I asked, trying to meet her gaze. She rose up on her elbow and looked down at me. Her hair hung around her face, and boy, did she look beautiful this morning. It might have been a pity, but that doesn't mean I don't want to do it again, Rhonda said, touching my face gently. Before I could answer, she continued. I didn't try before because there was Angela and the others. I didn't want to mess it up. Now I think I should have tried before Angela came on the scene. I looked at her and saw the emotion in her eyes. What do you want to say? I asked gently, touching her cheek. I've loved you for a long time, Ronnie, a long time, but I wasn't sure you'd want someone like me, Rhonda said, a tear rolling down her cheek. I didn't expect this. To be honest, I've loved you too for a long time. Yes? Rhonda asked with hope in her voice. Yes, I replied, pulling her towards me for a kiss. She smiled at me again and straddled herself on my groin. She sat perfectly, hands on my chest, looking down. We have so much in common, and we get along so well. I guess I never wanted to spoil anything. So what now? Do you want to date me? Rhonda asked, biting her bottom lip. Does this include sex? I replied, making her smile and laugh. I let my hand slide up her beautiful thigh. You can do whatever you want, Rhonda said sweetly. That comes with being in a relationship with me. Yes, I asked, looking at her. What if I want to do more than just date? I'm sure we can work something out, Rhonda replied happily, moving on my groin. What about Tony? I asked, gently massaging her thighs. I'll tell him there won't be anything more. It wasn't serious anyway, remember? It's just you and me now, right? Rhonda replied, the smile on her face faded. I mean, if that's what you want. Is this what you want? Just the two of us? I asked as my hand found her thigh. Yes, Rhonda replied. And you? Yes, I said. She leaned over and kissed me, first one, then twice, and then more passionately. Time has moved on, so where does that leave us all? Well, Rhonda is sitting opposite me, in a beautiful dress, and Lucy came with William to see us all. Rhonda moved into my house within a week of us having sex for the first time, and we haven't looked back. We are renting her house to Lucy with the possibility of selling it to her, but we will make a decision later. Lucy is dating Tony, and if all reports are to be believed, things are going pretty well. I think Rhonda had some influence on that, and we're really happy for them. Rhonda has a ring on her finger, which means, yes, I proposed to her and we got married 2 months ago. The wedding went well and we had a great time. We honeymooned in Hawaii for 2 weeks and now live the rest of our lives together. What about others, you ask? Angela is sitting here holding our 9-month-old daughter, Caitlin. With Rhonda's help, I let Angela back in and am now a part of our child's life. We still have a way to go, but first and foremost, it's about our daughter. Whatever happens next, well, happens. I should mention that Rhonda is madly in love with Caitlin and adores her like her own daughter. Angela went to therapy to deal with her problems and made positive progress. She's still dating the guy I saw in the parking lot, Michael Washington, but she's taking it slow. Yes, he is a partner in her company. He is rich. He had an accident as a child, so he cannot have children. If you're wondering about Jennifer, last I heard she was happy in Japan and someone new came into her life to take up her free time. I heard all of this through the company grapevine as my messages went unanswered. Anyway, most of them one day I received a simple email saying she was happy and would stay there longer. She loved the culture and the way of life, that's all. The news of someone new and important came from someone else in the company. I was happy for her and closed that chapter of my life. At this point, Caitlin began to cry. Here, let me help, Rhonda said, standing up and taking Caitlin into her arms. Thanks, I think she's hungry, Angela said. I'm trying to wean her off the breast, but she still likes milk from time to time. This is a cry of, give me milk. You look good with the baby, I said with a smile, making Rhonda blush. I know, Rhonda said with a smile before handing the baby over to Angela and watching as the baby snuggled into her mother's chest. She's right. Have you thought about adoption? Lucy asked as William sat in the corner reading comics. He's a good kid and always behaves so well. Not like me. Well, maybe, Rhonda replied, looking at me sweetly. I knew that look, and perhaps she was thinking about our personal lives, not about the children. It was still nice to have them back at the end of the day. Happiness comes first after the wedding. Who knows? Hey, what's for dinner? I interjected, standing up and making the women laugh. Chicken, Lucy said wittily. Yeah, that sounds good. How about I cook some chicken tonight? I said, looking at Rhonda, who just smiled while the others laughed. That's not what I meant, Lucy said, still laughing. At that moment, the doorbell rang. I will open it, I said, quickly getting out of the room. They laughed even louder as I opened the front door. Then I froze when I saw who was standing there. I couldn't believe my eyes. My ex-wife stood there, looking as beautiful as ever. Maybe the tight leggings and tight t-shirt were for my benefit. I dismissed the thought. "Sandra, what are you doing here?" "Who's there?" Rhonda asked, her voice getting closer, which meant that she was walking towards me. "Hey, Ronald, I was hoping we could talk," Sandra said just as Rhonda stopped next to me and wrapped her arms around my waist. "Oh, hi, Sandy. I think you're in the wrong house. Dickvad is that way," said Rhonda, pointing towards the university where Simon Tangible worked. Was hoping to talk to Ronnie," Sandra said, her nerves on edge. "Well, it's a little late. Years have passed. What happened? Did he find someone younger?" I asked before watching her eyes fall to the ground. This little piece hit the mark. It took Sandra a few seconds to speak. "I made a mistake, that's all. I was hoping. It doesn't matter. I'm late, right?" Sandra replied, looking at me. "Are you finally together?" "You think?" Rhonda asked, her voice getting louder. "Rhonda," I said with a little more force than I intended, but she quickly covered for me. "Excuse me, sir," Rhonda said, bowing slightly to me. I saw Sandra's eyes widen and then her lip quiver. Damn, Rhonda pulled this out of nowhere and damn, it hit the mark. I had to keep it up. It was nice to see Sandra writhing in despair. "The punishment will come later," I said, going with the flow. Rhonda let out a soft moan and nodded. "Yes, sir," Rhonda said, walking slightly behind me and pretending to be submissive. Sandra's mouth opened and a tear rolled down her cheek. I think she realized exactly what she had lost. Who knew what would have happened if she had just spoken to me all that time ago? I mean, she still looked good, and I reckon her ass could take a beating. "I really don't stand a chance, do I?" Sandra asked, trembling. "That's the best result in the class for you, and you don't even have to sleep with the professor to get it," I said with a sigh. "Have a good life, Sandra. I know I will." Before she could say anything, I walked into the house with Rhonda behind me and closed the front door. It was time to start looking forward instead of back, and I had exactly the right person to do it with. I pulled her towards me, kissed her on the lips, and made sure she knew exactly how I felt. Her smile told me everything I needed to know. "Too much?" Rhonda asked, putting her arm around my neck and looking into my eyes. We looked into each other's eyes, and smiles played on our faces. "Yes, I know, I've said it before. I'm not a hero.